All right, good morning. Welcome to the next edition of the Morning Cup with Joe. Joe Sorensen here. And also I brought in Sheila Kinman, Chief Advancement Officer, but really our in-house expert on charitable giving. And she is a resource to donors not only locally in Des Moines, but all across the state of Iowa, and for your donors in our affiliate counties. And so I wanted to bring Sheila in because at our last ICANN meeting, there was a lot of conversation around what are ways the Community Foundation could do additional training for your boards. And so I thought using the Morning Cup with Joe to do that training, that you could literally take this to a board meeting, push play, and have a certain topic presented at your board without us having to come out at that time. So the first topic I thought we'd bring up, because it's timely, there's some new legislation around it, would be retirement assets. Something that I would say most people have, something that there are taxable events with, and they do make good options for charitable giving during someone's lifetime and after. So Sheila, talk to us a little bit about why people look at retirement assets for charitable giving, and maybe you'll start off with leaving your retirement assets after your lifetime.
Yeah, so retirement assets, by and large, we'll talk about an exception, but by and large, retirement gifts are best at death for the donor.
Yep.
And I'll explain a little bit about that, but they're also easy to do. So a donor can leave their favorite charity as a beneficiary designation in their IRA 401k, so it's easy to do.
Right.
It's also revocable.
Okay.
If they get 2 years into it, change their mind, all they have to do is change the form.
Okay.
So basically then it all or a partial of their retirement pays out to their favorite charity at death.
Okay.
So it's pretty simplistic. We typically, for us, we use a legacy fund to capture the intention of that donor. So a legacy fund is that shell fund that they can fill out with their local community foundation, describe all their wishes, and then just let them know that the IRA or the 401k is going to be what funds that legacy gift, and then carry out their charitable wishes.
Okay. And you know, I've heard that maybe leaving retirement accounts to your heirs isn't a tax-free event for the heirs, is it?
That's right. That's why this is so advantageous. When it comes down to it, your clients, donors, they have to think about what is the best asset to leave to the heirs, and then if they're charitable, what are the best assets for charity?
Right.
Well, with retirement assets, the heirs, if they're left to the heirs, they will have to pay state income tax on it. They may or may not have to pay estate tax, depends on the size of their estate. As you know, there's a 5.43 roughly per person estate tax, federal exemption.
Right.
Also, in the state of Iowa, Forbes magazine listed Iowa as one of the 7 worst states to die in.
Really?
Because of their inheritance
But it's
tax.
probably the #1 state to live in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. You know it. So the reason why that is because we're one of few states that actually have inheritance tax. Now that's fine if you're leaving it to your children because they are exempt. But if you don't have kids, you will experience inheritance tax. If, for example, if you wanted to leave it to your nieces or nephews. So when thinking about retirement assets, you need to be aware of the different taxations that your heirs could experience. But also for community foundations, they should really pay attention to their donors who don't have children.
Right.
Because this can be a real problem solver for them if they don't have children. And of course, we want them to be charitable.
Right.
And so that's why that's important as well.
Okay.
So just some things to keep in mind. The insurance, gifts of insurance, different things like that might be better for the heirs.
Right.
And then leave the retirement assets to charity.
Definitely. And this would be what people would call a planned gift, and sometimes that term scares people. But at the end of the day, I like to remind people, if someone makes you a beneficiary of a retirement account, you will receive a check that you walk to the bank and deposit. And
Easy.
It's that easy. So this switch a little bit. So retirement account's really good. Legacy gifts after someone's lifetime. Are there opportunities for people to give retirement assets during their lifetime?
Right. So I'm glad you brought this up because this is the exception on when retirement assets are best during the donor's lifetime. And as many of you know, the federal legislation became permanent on the charitable IRA rollover. Now the state coupled in 2015. We still don't know if they'll couple in 2016. We hope they do. But what that means for donors is they can roll over their RMD, their required minimum distribution that kicks in when they're 70 and a half or older. So keep this in mind for your donors who are over 70 and a half. Anybody underneath it, it doesn't work for them. So for those who have to take the RMD, they can roll it over, which means they authorize the distribution. Instead of sending it to them, the administrator sends it to the community foundation,
right,
the charity.
Right.
And then what happens is they don't have to realize the income on the federal.
Okay.
They may or may not have to realize it on the state. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
But then also Iowa should be doing tons of these gifts because Endow Iowa may, depends on where they want it to go and what's happening with it, but may also apply for the 25% state tax credit.
Really?
So we have a huge advantage here in Iowa.
Yeah, definitely. So someone could roll that, let's say they did the full 100,000, roll that over directly to charity, don't have to pull out your checkbook, but make a direct gift to charity for 100,000 and get the 25% state tax credit. So that'd be $25,000 towards their state tax bill.
You just can't lose on that.
It's a big impact.
It is, and if I could quick tell you a donor story.
Yeah.
We have a local cardiologist who was giving to his church, tithing to his church anyway.
Okay.
Well, he's still working. He turned 71 last year and needed to take his drawdown, his required minimum distribution. Well, he's already paying taxes on the income he's making. He doesn't necessarily need the drawdown on the IRA.
Okay.
So what he did is he rolled that RMD over into a designated fund for his church. He got the credits as well because he needed the credits because he was also making the salary of a cardiologist. And now it just pays out 5% to his church, which supplements his tithing that he was doing anyway. So it really comes down to it. It's about picking the right asset.
Right, picking the right asset, being charitable, and putting that together. And we'll leave you on this note. We always like to say we are not tax or legal advisors. So this is definitely a conversation all donors should have with their professional advisor before doing it. But we're happy to talk to that advisor about the benefits of gifting some of those retirement assets. So Sheila, thank you for being on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me do my debut.
And please share this with your board and with your local professional advisory community, and let us know if there's other topics you would like us to videotape in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.